What is up, Cataclysm Gaming? I'm your host, Grim Reaper, bringing you our new series that's going to help you compete against the best of the best. We're also going to prepare you for Premier in every division. Open, Intermediate, Advanced, Elite, and Contender by going over each map week by week that's in the competitive pool. Sit back, get your notebooks out, and let's get into it. What's up, everyone? I'm back bringing you Breeze with Cypher setups. Let's get into it. Starting off on the B bomb site, if your team is looking to hit B right away, we can do this trip for stairs, and we could do another trip here. This is going to hold off the elbow flank and the window flank, allowing you to just take site with your team, or you can lurk and play with the trips as well. Another B attack setup you can do is you can do a trip back here, but you got to care about your window flank with the cam here. And then if you take site, you're able to tripwire site, so if enemy teams are trying to retake, you got your full close flank covered, and your camera's going to be able to see window flank and elbow, and your team can play off of this trip here. Another full B attack setup you can do is we can use a trip deeper here and put another deep trip here. And this can allow you just to play window, and all you really have to worry about is a flank window, or you can use your camera for aggro flank for here or for sight as well too. You can also do this camera right here if you're taking sight. Just be aware that your window is open. Usually you'll find out if the enemy team likes to flank a lot later on in your matches. Now say your team wants to push towards A, there's multiple trips we can do here. We can do this trip here, or since halls is open, and if we're not lurking halls, we could do this trip if we're pushing with the team. This is going to allow you to get flanks from deeper and if they're pushing up closer from halls. Now say your team's doing a wide map default and you got to watch both flanks. We can just put this trip here so it's not jumpable from stairs, and then we could put this aggro trip like deeper here or anywhere really along this wall will be fine for early info too. Now let's talk about camera placements on this map. Now, really good camera I like to use almost every single game is this camera here. Placing this camera up top is going to allow you to get info early elbow, nest, people walking down, or people peeking mid doors. Now, also with your tripwires, this is also going to be playing a role into being like an extra trip. Seeing enemies look to break your trip, you can pop your cam, see anyone walking up, or you get that audio cue of if they break A trip and your guys are actually going towards B. Another mid camera that you can use if you're being more aggressive towards mid is this cam here. Run up, jump, throw. And this is going to allow you quick info here and mid doors if someone's swinging with an op or people are walking down peeking top mid. Towards the A bomb site, we can do an early cam for halls since it's now open. Either here to see anyone who's either walking down, jump spotting, opping. You get this early info as well. We can also use our Cypher camera on A for an aggro instant peek here to be using it like a easy drone to clear your left, clear right, and spot anyone on site. Now, if enemy teams are going to shoot this right away, a tip you can do is when you swing it right, you're going to get all the info and it's going to pop up on the map for a second. If the enemy team doesn't break the cam right away, just pick it up. You're going to have a 15-second cooldown versus a 45-second cooldown to replace your cam. And with that information, you could either put your cam again for deeper site info in the post plant. If you're playing towards the B bomb site, what you can do with your cam, kind of what I showed you earlier, is a deep camera elbow to get an early timing on this guy walking down, or an aggro camera right here as well too, allowing you to do the same idea like we talked about in the A bomb site, just getting a quick info to clear your close left, right, or clear your close right, and see everything that's on site. Now let's talk about lurks on this map. This map is probably Valorant's largest map that you can take a lot of aggro timings. Now, the art of lurking is also basically telling the enemy that you're here, but not at the same time. A lot of this is just playing mind games with the enemy team. For example, if you want to lurk elbow, but you definitely want the enemy to stay towards B side and know you're here, you could put an aggro trip here with an early cage, alerting that you're here, but you're also covered. Now you could wide swing here, put this camera here, you're going to spot here and people swinging nest. Most people are going to want to swing to break this camera as well. If nothing happens, be ready just to pre-aim top nest, And you can catch timings by throwing a cage here, going up top nest, or go through the cage, look to break Cypher util here, or take a fight. Now say we're tasked with lurking mid while your team's working towards A. Usually I'll put a trip here for myself with this mid camera I showed you before. Now there's 2 cages I like to do. Right before barrier drops, you can line up here, your crosshair just right in between the flag and where this cloud is, and a jump throw. When you pop this cage, it's going to allow you to come all the way up to here and play this position without being seen from indoors. And then you can use this camera to spot anyone coming up and jump and fight when they shoot it. Another mid setup we could do, say we want to attack towards mid doors and taking up this space, using the same cam and trip. If you line up very close to this wall, kind of where this block of sand is, crosshair up here, right under this little balcony or like ledge, and then a jump throw. This is going to land perfectly in the middle. You can pop this cage and be able to fight for mid doors, or cause chaos from expecting these guys to expect you to fight here. When in reality, what you can do is pop this cage, get in, check your cam, and then swing when they break it as well too, allowing you to activate your lurk and maybe make the enemy team use util to fight you, or waste a bunch of time if your team's going towards A. Now, we're going to cover if you're lurking through halls. We're going to set up this camera here that I showed you before, and then we'll have a trip here to allow our team early information while we're walking up too. When popping this camera, if there's nothing, you to go up the rope very slowly, make noise, or you could fast pressure this, running up, sees nothing, throw cage, pop cage. I like to use a trip here as well too. This is going to allow, if you are here, enemy teams who are looking to push through, you could basically trap them, get a free spam through. Now, before opening the door, we're going to drop a cage, pop it, pop the cage, and usually your team will be on site to help you, and you could come out this way, shoot back sight, or play off of a recon dart. Or, my favorite thing to do, once this cage pops, you can walk all the way back. Now, the enemy team is paranoid, not knowing where exactly you are. You could be towards here, you could be out, or you playing off this strip allows you to just get free spam kills. Now that we kind of briefed over a lot of attack situations that you can be in, let's talk about defense real quick. We're going to be covering over A setup, and then covering a little bit of B setup and what you can do while you're rotating over to help your team. Starting towards A, I'm going to show a few cameras that I like to use. First off, this is probably the best camera that a lot of people are going to be doing, and what you'll see a lot is if you're up here, you're going to just run, jump, throw. This camera's going to be up top, sees the mid walk up and a lot of sight, and you could use this in the post plant to see exactly where the enemy team is playing, or you can use it early, look to spam with it as well. Another camera spot that's really good is anywhere back here if you're just mainly worried about A main. This is going to be behind the Viper wall, allowing you to get that early info right away and see people playing like Cubby and stuff. Another cam you can do towards A is an aggro cam. Spots all of this. Most enemy teams aren't going to break this right away, but if they don't, you have all this free info. After barriers drops, another camera is over here. Same idea, early info, very aggro. Now if you're towards the left side of site and want to do a different cam, you can do this one right up here. This camera is going to be a little hidden. You're also going to be able to see people coming out, and they're going to pop up on the map, and it's harder for enemies to shoot. Another camera towards A site, this one here. Pop this cam up here. This is going to be just for late contact walking out, and you can see mid-cross unless they smoke it as well. This is also going to be right behind the Viper wall that usually most teams do, which is going to go across here. Alright, after talking about camera positions, I'm going to show you a couple trips over here. A lot of trips that I like to do is this one over here. With the new rework trips, this allows you to play some really deep trip here, allowing when enemies rock out, you're able to spam through the Viper wall, get easy kills. And there's also this trip here if you're worried about a mid-split happening. This is going to attack anyone coming up ramp, pairing both with your camera as well. Now, with these trips, you can also use your cages right away, either placing one early here, or you can use one of your one-ways right here as well for mid doors. And then both these cages together, hop in here, swing through, get as many kills as you can. One way, if you're playing deeper, is going to catch anyone walking through here. Now, say you're playing more back site and the left side of site over here. We can place this trip off this bricks here. And then like another trip here, placing cages here. And one for mid site here. If the enemy team's walking out, you can pop this cage first. Cage triggered. Take gunfights here, looking to shoot whoever hits your trip here. Or swing left, capitalizing on this trip as well. Now, if you're playing against a team that likes to go bricks right out of a main, placing the trip against this back wall to pyramid is going to allow you to capitalize on anyone running across. It's going to be harder for the enemy team to break this part. Usually when they hit this, they have to turn around and break the trip. If you're playing towards the left side Ivy, you can capitalize on this trip by just spamming through a Viper wall or your cage triggered. Now we're going to cover a few camera placements on the B bomb site. A really good cam if you're looking for info towards site and mid is just putting this one right up on this wall. This is going to allow you to see anyone jumping up and capitalize anyone coming out towards ladder, back site before they break it. Another camera I like to do personally is this camera on this back wall. This is going to see early mid info if they're walking up towards elbow or from mid doors to top mid. And this is going to see early info B main. And if they don't break this camera right away, they can walk out. You'll see them ladder, basically anywhere on site as well. Other cameras that you can place on this bomb site is really anywhere along this wall. But majority of the cameras I do is just this one, this one. If you have a read that the team likes to push out, we can do a camera in this corner. This isn't going to see mid, but is it going to see over the Viper wall and capitalize on majority teams who are only aware of this camera. Ideally, you want to be switching up your camera positions as Cypher so you capitalize on the most value for it. For tripwires over here, I personally, a lot of the times, just are going to do this unbreakable one, where enemy teams have to swing out to break it or use util to break it. And you can capitalize on a lot of kills here. Now, usually on round 1 though, in my lobbies, a lot of people are already expecting you to do this type of trip here. So they'll use a shock dart, mollies, whatever they can to break it. So putting a deep trip right where barrier is going to throw off the enemy and still allow you to net a kill before they break it. Pair that with your cage or a deeper cage to play around. Cage triggered. And you get a guaranteed kill. Other trips that I like to do if they're breaking your unbreakable trip or using util in this area to break anything here is doing a deeper trip towards ladder and a deeper trip towards main as well. Like so. Placing just a random cage here, and then you could play towards tunnel, playing off of the Viper wall, blocking a lot of contact. Or half wall, and the same concept applies. They swing out, this Viper wall is usually going to block the enemy team's vision, get a kill here, shoot the guy here as well too. Another trip that's really nice is putting this one here. This is going to come all the way to here to here. You can also spam an enemy player who's swinging here. Pair that with a trip over here and a cage. And like another cage as well. This is going to allow them to not really see where these trips are. And you can capitalize on these kills through the box, your cage, and your camera can see both enemies through here as well. Now say the enemy team likes to push out from B main and go this way. Doing this trip over here is going to go right to here. So if enemy teams are wanting to swing through the wall, you'll be able to capitalize on a kill from playing from backside or half wall as well. Another trip is just anywhere along this wall, along these stairs, is you can put a really nice one like that. And the same concept applies. You'll tag anyone running through, get free kills. Now, if you have a read on the enemy team that they don't really push this space early, we can also just use our camera for a deep placement here. And if there's still nothing, set up a deep trip and just leave. You'll have your camera and a deep trip info for window, and you get all this info to allow you to just play off site B, maybe rotate to mid, be ready to fast flank to help your team. If you have another trip in your pocket, just dropping one right here. You have almost fully B on lock. Early info, check your cam time to time, and then you can just play mid. The enemy team would have to break both trips for info, and you're set up in a really good spot to capitalize on both. Early break trip here, stand on this wall, or if you catch them early here, you'll beat them to the rotate to run all the way back to here. Now, say the enemy team is pushing towards A and you need to rotate off the site. Usually if you have like an extra trip here, you can pick this trip up, pick your cam, pop the cage, allowing you to safe rotate out of B main. You can go towards mid, and then you can use your camera for early info deeper after 15 seconds, either capitalizing on information here before you swing, or if they're for sure going towards A, you can put some crazy trip here. So when you're re-entering and retaking, your whole mid is covered while you're able to just fight with the team. Usually by this time, you'll also have your camera back up. If they put this Viper wall up, that allows you timing to just throw a quick cam, get quick info as well. Clearing cubby. And usually default right side. Now let's just talk a little bit about this mid space. Most of the time, the only place you really have to worry about if your team doesn't really know the timing of this is just putting a trip here is going to allow your team to not really worry about deep hull space. However, they still have to worry about door. We could technically put a camera here if we were just playing like super aggro. Either cam here. This can hear everything walking up and see people before they get to door. You can put this cam, play close. They open door, you can tag and then spam. Another camera you can do early mid is before the enemy team's pushing out, right after barrier. Just run, throw a camera on this wall. You'll be able to see early mid and if enemy teams walk up elbow. And there you guys go. That's really all I really have to show you guys on Breeze and what I usually do in my ranked games, my matches, and what I'll be doing during my premiere games this week as well. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Catch me on the next map breakdown. Until next time, I've been Grim Reaper, and you guys have a wonderful day. Peace, peace.